Time has been flying by. I've had this computer for just a little bit over 4 months and I've absolutely loved it. Before this, I had the 2012 MacBook Pro, which was just not getting the job done. I could edit some pictures, sometimes video, but it would crash and lag a lot. So then I upgraded to the M1 Air, which was actually really good. I was really surprised on how well it handled everything, but it still lagged a little bit with video. And then I had the opportunity to sell the Air and get the M1 Max. And again, I have loved it. However, if I were to do it again, I would not get the M1 Max. And let me tell you why. If I had the chance to upgrade to an M1, yes, I would still do it. However, I don't think I would get this 16-inch computer because I ended up getting an external monitor. And my initial thinking was, I'm gonna do all my editing on this computer. I'm not gonna get an external monitor. And initially, when I first got it, the upgrade to 16-inch display versus the Air display was a huge difference and I loved it. However, eventually, I realized I am gonna need an external monitor and I had already spent most of my budget on this computer. If you're still building up your content creation gear like cameras, tripods, lights, and you need a computer as well, yes, I would look into the M1 computers, but don't go for the 16-inch M1 Max. You don't need all that power to start off, and I quickly learned that. So that is something I would recommend you really research and think about. So I did end up picking up this M7 Samsung monitor. Let me know if you want me to make a video on that. It's not the best monitor for editors or doing content. However, it has a good enough picture to where I can edit content on it. However, if I'm doing any color grading or color correction, I pull that over onto the Mac just because the display is so much better. It's not a horrible display, but it's not the best for editing. If you haven't been able to play around with one of these computers yet, then you might not know, but the body of the computer is actually a little bit thicker than you would expect. They are still sleek, but they're not as thin as Apple usually tries to go for. However, I really do not mind even going on vacation and having to carry the extra weight. I did not mind at all, especially when having that HDMI port and the memory card reader. Those are game changers, and I'm really glad Apple reflected and brought those back. They also brought the MagSafe back, so you can just clip it on. Honestly, I like it, but it's nothing crazy. I actually do like having the USB-C port in there to charge it because that's one of the main cables in my desk setup, so I can just plug it in. But it is still nice to have that MagSafe. It's kind of nice to play with. This is the M1 Max, and as far as editing, it just crushes it. Exporting videos are pretty easy as well. I have noticed a slight improvement in time versus my M1 Air, and definitely over my 2012 Pro Mac. So I will walk you a little through my workflow. I am working with 4K video from my A7C and A6400, sometimes from my drone, and the M1 Max has absolutely no issues handling any of that footage. However, I have noticed that there is just a little slight delay sometimes when using motion VFX titles. That's if I'm using a lot and it's a pretty big timeline, but usually I don't have any issues with that. Personally, I haven't heard the fans go on at all. I can typically have Final Cut Pro open, DaVinci Resolve. Sometimes I do a little color grading in DaVinci Resolve. I can have tabs open, Photoshop, Lightroom, and this thing seems to handle it pretty well. I've never had any issues with any of them crashing. So it's really nice to know that I can have a computer where I can be doing multiple things, especially after getting an external monitor and having everything open and have no issues with it. So that is one of the nicest things about this M1 Max. And it is so nice probably because it is a little overkill to get the M1 Max for my workflow. I probably would have been okay with just the M1 Pro computers. Didn't have to go for the Max or the 16 inches. But it is nice to know that I'm not going to be pulling my hair out with a laggy 2012 Pro or even have to worry about those slight laggy delays from the M1 Air when doing a lot of editing. So I can't change my decision, but I am glad I do have the 16-inch screen display, just because I can unplug it, go upstairs and edit. And even when I went on vacation, I took this computer and edited a whole video on it, and having that extra screen real estate was amazing. So if you have the budget for it, I would say go for it. You can get that 16-inch screen real estate, and it really does help. Overall, if you deal with a lot of 4K, 6K, 8K video, and you have huge timelines with multiple layers of everything, then yeah, look into the M1 Max 16 inches. You probably want the best of the best. However, if you're just starting out, you need a good computer to get everything done, but you don't need the best of the best yet, then I would recommend maybe going for the M1 Pro 14-inch. Save some money, get an external monitor, get some other gear. But again, if you have the extra budget, I would say go for it. It's an amazing machine. If this video helps in any way, hit the like button, maybe sub to the channel, no pressure, but I'll see you in the next one. Again, no pressure. Peace.